Now we will discuss the bones of the foot. All these are the bones of the foot, and proximally there are tarsal bones, then metatarsal bones, then phalanges. I will show you another X-ray film which is mainly of the foot. In this plate we can see this is the anteroposterior view or dorsiplantar view. All these are tarsal bones. From proximal to distal they are calcaneum, then talus, then medially this is the great toe. So medially this is navicular, this is cuboid, and in front of navicular there are three cuneiform: medial, intermediate and lateral cuneiform. And here the five metatarsal bone starting from first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and all these are phalanges. In the great toe you will get two phalanges, proximal and distal, but in other four toes you will get proximal, middle and distal phalanges. Then what are the tarsal bones? I told you already there are 7 tarsal bones, but in the hand there are 8 carpal bones, but here 7 tarsal bones. Both the tarsal bone and carpal bones, they are short bones. In the lateral view we can see this is calcaneum, the largest tarsal bone, then this is the talus having the body, then neck and then head. The peculiarity of the tarsal talus is that no muscle is attached at any part of the talus, only ligaments are attached. And on the undersurface of the talus there is a groove called sulcus talli. And similarly, opposite to this, on the superior surface of the calcaneum there is another sulcus called calcaneal sulcus. So calcaneal sulcus and sulcus talli both together form a sinus. This one, this black area, this is called sinus tarsi. Sinus tarsi, it is a bony tunnel or called tarsal sinus which is occupied by the ligaments. What are the ligaments? Interosseous talocalcaneal ligament and cervical ligament. The talus, it articulates with the navicular bone. This is navicular, and this X-ray film you can see here is the navicular in front of the talus, and lateral side this is cuboid, I told you already, and these three are the three cuneiform: medial, intermediate and lateral, and all these are metatarsals. The metatarsals are examples of short long bone or miniature long bone. What is meant by miniature long bone? In miniature long bone there should be one diaphysis or primary epiphyseal center, and either at the head or at the base will be one epiphysis. For all these metatarsal and phalanges, their epiphysis will be at the head of the metatarsals or head of the phalanges, except the first metatarsal where the epiphysis is at the base, like that of the metacarpal bone in the hand. So all these phalanges and metatarsal having one epiphysis and one diaphysis. But in a typical long bone like tibia, fibula, femur, there one diaphysis but two epiphysis, one at each end, but here at one end. So these are miniature long bone or short long bone. Then what are these two radio-opaque areas? These two are the two sesamoid bone, and these two sesamoid bone under the first metatarso-phalangeal joint, and these sesamoid bone are two in number, one medial, one lateral. The medial one, it is larger than the lateral one. The medial one also called the tibial sesamoid bone, which is about 10 millimeter in wide and 14 millimeter long. But the lateral or fibular sesamoid bone, it is 8 millimeter wide and about 10 millimeter long. But sometimes these two sesamoid bone may be absent congenitally, but if present, they are under flexor hallucis brevis. Severed bone may be found in the tendon of tibialis posterior, may be found in the tendon of tibialis anterior, and may be found within the tendon of peroneus longus, which is called the os peroneum. So there may be multiple severed bone, of which these two are mostly found under the flexor hallucis brevis. What are the parts of the metatarsal bones? We have the base, shaft and head. Base, shaft and head in all metatarsal bone, of which the first metatarsal having the medialmost position and it is strongest and the shortest bone, but the longest one is the second metatarsal. So what are the joints here? Joints here are the tarsometatarsal joint, metatarsophalangeal joint, then interphalangeal joint. Interphalangeal joint for the other four toes are proximal and distal, but in case of great toe only one interphalangeal joint is there because there are two phalanges. Here three phalanges, so two joints, proximal and distal interphalangeal joints. Of which joint is most important in the foot? One is mid-tarsal joint. Another term is there called talocalcaneal joint. Talocalcaneal means, I am showing you the another film. This is talus, this is calcaneum. So in this articulation, we can see here is one articulation, here is another articulation. This is the anterior part, this is posterior part. So anterior articulation here, it is a part of talocalcaneonavicular joint, this one. But the posterior part here, posterior articulation, also called the talocalcaneal joint or subtalar joint. And this talocalcaneonavicular joint and calcaneocuboid another joint. This is the calcaneum, here is the cuboid on lateral side. The calcaneocuboid and the talocalcaneonavicular joint, these are called mid-tarsal joint or transverse tarsal joint. So two important joints, one is mid-tarsal joint, one is subtalar joint. These two are mid-tarsal and subtalar is this one. Important movement of the foot, that is the inversion and eversion, occurs in this subtalar and mid-tarsal joint. You can see this is the arch of the foot. This forming the arch, maybe medial longitudinal arch and lateral longitudinal arch. In the medial arch, the head of the talus is the most vulnerable part, and the lateral arch is the calcaneocuboid joint, this one is the most vulnerable part. Then what are the bones forming the arch? I am showing you once again this film. In the medial arch, the bones are calcaneum, then talus, then navicular, and then three cuneiform and three metatarsal bones. First, second and third up to the head. These are forming the medial longitudinal arch. And lateral longitudinal arch, they are formed from behind forwards, again that is calcaneum, then cuboid, then fourth and fifth metatarsal bones up to their heads. There are two longitudinal arches are there and one is transverse arch from side to side. Then what is the commonest deformity of this arch of the foot? That is called flat foot or pes planus. And another term sometimes asked, what is pes cavus? Pes cavus, it is the overarching of the longitudinal arch of the foot. Few examiner may ask you, what are the homologous tarsal bones and carpal bones? But one thing is that the pisiform bone is one of the carpal bone in the hand, does not possess any homologous tarsal bone, but other carpal bones having homologous tarsal bone. Talus is homologous bone in the scaphoid. Then posterior tubercle of talus, homologous carpal bone is lunate. Then calcaneus, triquetral, cuboid, it is the hamate, this is cuboid, it is hamoid. Then medial cuneiform, this one, it is trapezium in the hand. Then intermediate cuneiform, it is trapezoid in the hand. Then lateral cuneiform, it is capitate in the hand. And navicular, this is navicular, it is tubercle of scaphoid in the hand. So all these are the homologous tarsal and carpal bones. So usually all these questions are asked in the plain X-ray of the foot. Thank you very much.